It's actually a really good garlic bread. Garlic bread is my favorite food. I could honestly eat it for every meal. Or just eat it all the time without even stopping.
You get fat.
No, why would I get fat?
Bread makes you fat.
Bread makes you fat?
Hello everyone and welcome to the movie calendar. And yes, bread makes you fat. My name is Leigh.
And I'm Terrence.
And this week we're going to be talking all about Edgar Wright's brilliant film, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. As always, we're very excited to talk about the movie that we're going to be talking about this week and go through it and then add it to the movie calendar at the end of the episode. If you are new here, welcome. We're going to have a good time. If you're listening to us on the audio app of choice for podcasts, we do have a video version as well on YouTube. Just search for the movie calendar. And if you're here joining us on YouTube, we do have audio versions on your favorite podcast app. If you don't have the time to sit down and give us a watch, you can always take us on the road, on the walk to work, or on the commute, so that you can listen to us talk about Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
And all the other ones. And all the other ones as well. I saw this film many years ago for the very first time, and as the years went, I think a couple times I started watching it and remembered, this is a cool film, but never was really committed to the watch, and watched it in preparation of this episode. Realized I've only ever watched again like the first half hour. There was so much that was like new to me again. I forgot how the whole thing finished. That's how long ago it was. But it kind of all came back, when it's in your subconscious there. So it was really cool to see it all. I'd forgotten the energy of the film all the way through.
It's nuts. And energy is absolutely the right word to use in this film, because it is I don't know, it's really hard to describe. It's almost like a sugar high for the entire film, just from the dialogue and the visuals. Mm-hmm. But we're going to get into all that soon. If you haven't seen the movie, very much this is a recommend for you to check out. Have a look at your local streaming services or buy it or rent it. It is an absolute cracker of a film. And worth your attention. We are going to be talking about it as if you have seen it as well. So from here on out, there will be full spoilers with the movie, and it's a much more enjoyable experience if you kind of know what we're going to be talking about, because we're kind of going to jump around quite a bit.
We should also mention, I don't know, did you mention the socials? You mentioned YouTube podcasts, but we like to make this a bit of an interactive thing, because the idea of the movie calendar is that we find a date, the perfect date in a year to watch the film on that we speak about. So to be able to contribute to that, we want to hear your story. We want to hear why you think it should go on a certain date. So we have an email, which is themoviecal@gmail.com. So email us your story. Tell us why you think it should go there. But you can also communicate with us on Twitter. We've got the Movie Cal on Twitter and Instagram as well at the Movie Cal. So, jump on, see what we post, comment with what your thoughts are, with the section we've got coming up later on as well. What about when? So you can get your voice on our episodes here as well. We'll give you a few seconds to share our little lights that we have here in front of us. We have lights.
Yeah, we've got so feel free to comment down below if you're here on YouTube, or send your questions or anything through to any of our socials. We love a bit of banter online.
And comment
all
below
of this
too.
can be found. Yeah, all of this can be found in the description down below, or on our website, themoviecalendar.com. It's all there too.
Cool. All right, well let's get into it. I mentioned I've only just seen it like a couple of times. I thought it was pretty cool. I felt very old watching it. I thought, wow, this is full on.
This is it's 10 years old, this film, at the time of recording here. Kind of serendipitous. We didn't plan it this way, but I'm happy to ride the train of it. But the 10-year anniversary of this film is in a couple of weeks from this episode dropping. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of going to do a cheeky little, it's a 10-year celebration of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So if that's why you're here, welcome. I hope you have a good time and enjoy the film as much as we do. Yeah, I saw this film kind of just after it came out. It was a real, I don't even want to say sleeper hit, because it wasn't even that. Like it didn't do well at the box office at all when it came out, and really found its audience at home, much like a couple of episodes ago we did John Wick. very similar vibes with that film, where it didn't really find an audience until it got into people's homes, and then I don't know if it's too early or not to say that it's received cult status yet.
I reckon it has.
But I certainly think it has as well. It's it's an incredible film, and again, definitely worth your time, and a yearly watch for sure.
Yeah, a couple of little searches that I've done online. Holy moly, there's so much out there, and I thought, geez, Leigh, you're going to have to find a new host for this. I can't share this with you. I'm just going to be the one that just goes, oh, wasn't it cool and funny?
Yeah, well, there is so much in this film, and I've limited myself. For those who have been here before and kind of know how this works, they'll know that I am a fiend for details, like minute details. So I have very much limited myself to only a couple during this episode. Otherwise, we would be spending 10 minutes on every single frame of this movie, because there is a detail in every single frame. It's absolutely crazy. So I've got one attention to detail moment that I'm going to talk about a bit later on to kind of give you a feel as to how much detail is in this movie. And then I've got a bit of a section that I'm going to do about the 7 deadly X's and little details to do with them, just to limit myself to try and keep this runtime down a bit. And in the spirit of that, let's go through the cast for this film, because this is going to take up half of the episode. This is an absolutely impressive, astonishing cast, and you have to mention it. So, without further ado, we've got Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Alison Pill, Mark Webber, Johnny Simmons, Chris Evans, Brandon Routh, Kieran Culkin, Brie Larson, Anna Kendrick, Aubrey Plaza, Jason Schwartzman, Mae Whitman, and a sneaky voice cameo by Bill Hader. Now, if that doesn't... Yeah, and we're out of time. Thank you so much for joining us. I've been Leigh, that's Terrence, and we'll see you next week. Bye! No, that's incredible. And to think 10 years ago, there's a lot of these names here, whilst maybe known, nowhere near the megastars that they are now. It's crazy the amount of talent that Edgar Wright and Universal was able to put together for this movie is astonishing to watch back.
What about the and little superhero connections as well? You got a couple of Marvel characters in there. You got a DC. Do you want to get into that now? No, I don't want to get into it. I want to say that.
No, I do. I've literally I took the time to write it down. So here's a few of the superheroes that are in this movie, just from the actors that have played them. There's a couple of double ups as well. Like Chris Evans plays a bunch of different superhero characters. But there is a Superman, an Atom, Captain America, Human Torch, Captain Marvel, Dick Grayson or Robin, Huntress, and Batgirl, and that's just to name a few that are in this film.
I only knew 3, and some of those ones you just named, I didn't even know were superheroes.
I didn't make them up, I swear.
Wow. Well, are you going to at least say who they were?
No, we don't have time. People know. You can do your research and find out. It's all good.
All right. Fine. Chris Evans is one.
Yeah, he's 2, actually.
He's 2. Oh, fine. All right. Brie Larson. And I can't pronounce the Superman, the guy who played Superman.
Brandon Routh.
Routh, yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
That's. I'm happy with those 3.
Okay, good.
They're the ones that I recognise, not being a massive superhero fan. I love the superhero movie, but not being a follower of the genre and the storylines. I recognise the 3, and I'm very proud of myself for that.
Yeah, I'm the superhero nerd between the two of us, and we had a discussion earlier today about when the first superhero movie is going to appear on the calendar, and I can let you know that it's coming very soon, and I am so excited. Actually, you know what? Without giving away the film, episode 10. It is going to be episode 10, so in a couple of episodes' time, we're going to be doing our first superhero film. It's already chosen, and yeah, brace yourselves. I cannot wait.
Cool, and I've seen it a few times as well, so it's not going to be out of the ballpark for me.
Oh, good. I didn't know that. We never got that far. Yeah. I kind of just lambasted Terrence in the street and was like, "We're talking about this movie for the 10th."
Yep, that's good. That's good. I'll follow you, Leigh. I'll follow you to the ends of the earth.
No,
is there a quote like that in this film?
Isn't he a sweetie? Probably. There is so much dialogue in this movie. Let's jump back in.
go.
So,
Yep.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So, 2010, directed by Edgar Wright. If you're not sure who he is, look him up. He is a wonderful director. He's done the Cornetto trilogy, which is Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. He's done this. He's got Last Night at Soho coming out a bit later this year, fingers crossed. Incredible director with a really good attention to detail, and who has probably seen more films than probably anybody who is watching this right now combined. Our viewer audience combined, he's probably seen more movies than all of us together. So
Wow.
whether that speaks more to how low the numbers are for this or to how many films he's seen, I'll let you be the judge.
He knows his stuff. He definitely has a style. Which this film
Yep.
lends itself to so well that now when I watch any of the Cornetto trilogies, that was one of my only accents I'll ever do, quoting Nick Frost.
That's making the highlight reel.
I'm going to find it hard to watch one of those films and not see what he does with Scott Pilgrim and see it as a graphic novel, and just every transition and split frame the transitions, and it was definitely stylized to him. And I haven't seen any other of his films that I know of. I've seen the Cornetto trilogy, but I don't know other ones. But
No, I think this was the kind of his first foray into the superhero genre.
Okay.
And God, he was absolutely the best person to do it. Like this film and the way that it's shot and edited and put together, is just so perfect for this world and for these characters. I couldn't imagine anybody better behind the camera than Edgar Wright.
Yeah, it suits him. Did you say superhero genre?
Yes.
Is that where you'd put it? All right. Okay.
Yeah, well, he was supposed to a bit of a sore spot for fans of this and also to Edgar Wright himself. So I apologize if he ever watches this, but he was supposed to be the original director for Marvel's Ant-Man before he left due to creative differences. And there's a part of me that really wants to see what his version of Ant-Man would have been. I love Peyton Reed, and he did a really good job, and I love that film. But yeah, I sorely miss the fact that we live in a world that we don't have an Edgar Wright MCU movie.
No, well, that'd be interesting. If it's anything like the 4 films of his that I've seen, maybe it's good that it's not in that genre, mixing it all up. I don't know.
Maybe
let's him focus on his own stuff.
Yeah, let him do his own thing. I think he's very much a filmmaker who shouldn't really be shackled by a studio.
No. Not
that Marvel is particularly shackling. They probably were then before they went through a hierarchy change. But we're going to get all into that in future episodes when we talk about those movies. So for now, I really want to talk about Scott Pilgrim and just what a monumental achievement in just visual storytelling it is, and a kind of how it expands how film can be as an art form, because it genuinely does that. I might be talking it up a little bit too much, but I genuinely believe that there are things that happen in this movie that change the landscape of cinema forever. Mm-hmm. Things that just the way that the characters interact with each other and the way that just the visual storytelling with all of the special effects flying around, like lines across people's faces as close-ups come through, and it was just so hyper stylized in a way that I'd never seen before, and honestly haven't really seen since. Very comic book, which of course the film is based off a comic, and it's so unique, and I'm sad that we don't have more movies like this.
Oh, you know what? I'm glad we don't have more movies like this, because this design that he's put on his film is a graphic novel as a movie, full stop. That's all it is. It's almost like every shot has already been storyboarded for him. Yeah. Except while we've seen other directors take graphic novels and bring them to film or bring them to television, from any superhero film, any Marvel, any DC. Even I'm a big fan of The Walking Dead. That's a graphic novel that's still being written. They just cinematize it and make it into a movie using the movie steps. He didn't use any of the film processes really in terms of the storytelling. It's what's amazing about it, and the reason I say I hope it doesn't do another one like this is because it will look too much like this one. It will look too much like a Scott Pilgrim remake. It was done specifically to look like a graphic novel, to have the rushing lines when he does a crash zoom, or the punch sounds, the gag ones, and he didn't use whomp or thud or whatever like Batman. Doesn't Batman have a copyright on that or something like that? I heard ages ago.
Maybe there might have been things that stopped him.
Yeah, and you couldn't use those same words. So I like to think in my head that he made up his own. I don't know if the comic used those words. I don't know, but he's just taken the graphic novel and put it on the screen. And I say it like that because it must have been so difficult to be able to successfully do that. And it was beautiful to see. It was you said it was like a sugar rush? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially right at the beginning. I watched this one with my wife and I was talking to her saying, is Scott Pilgrim on some sort of drug? Is he in some sort of
drugs, yes,
psychological paradigm to what we see as neurotypical? Like, what is going on in his head? And then I realized, this is a comic. That's what they do, panel to panel. He was filming in panels, and I think he did it so brilliantly. But with the transitions, every transition, and he'd have a sound effect with the transitions, and that's what he does in Hot Fuzz as well, and it's what he does in World's End and all those things. So I really like that this film, I haven't seen a replication of this in 10 years. And I don't think there should be another one, because he did this one so well. So well.
Yeah, I think there's probably an argument to be made that it's sort of style over substance. Except that doesn't hold up because there is so much substance in the style as well.
Absolutely.
And I think if people tried to copy it, it would just be that. It would just be style for the sake of style, which is just not good enough, to be honest. You need the substance as well. And it sets you up for it really well in the opening scene where you're introduced to, to his high school girlfriend, Knives. And she comes in and listens to them play the first song, and the first song goes over the opening credits, and it does the really long hallway of them sitting on the couch really far back, and the credits come up with, the 1,000 names that I just read off before of all of these huge actors.
Yeah.
It's very, very stylized, and
little character cards that pop up.
The character cards are so cute.
And they're what does it say? They're rating,
little
computer game mixed with graphic novel, and so much. You're right. You could tell right from the word go. You're like, oh, this is a different type of film. This is different.
Yeah, it makes it that when the X's start to come into the story and the fights start, whilst it comes out of left field, it also makes sense for the world that has been established already, which is such a hard task to master. Because it just could have come off as stupid. I know Edgar Wright has said that he made this movie like a musical.
Yeah. But
instead of the characters breaking out into song and dance, they broke out into Street Fighter style fights.
Cool.
which is so great.
Okay. Yep. There's not much singing and dancing, or not much fighting when there's a love scene going on, like a lot of musicals, right?
You get the idea, though, right?
It was very cool. The use of the graphics, I think, was just incredible, and the comedic timing. I've spoken about this before in Groundhog Day with Bill Murray, but Michael Cera, unbelievable, and Kieran Culkin.
He is
moly.
Fantastic. So Kieran Culkin plays Wallace, who's the roommate to Scott Pilgrim, who is Home Alone. What's his name?
Macaulay
Culkin.
Mac.
It's his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin McAllister's brother. And he is fantastic as just the gay roommate who, has swarms of men coming into this one-bedroom apartment, and yeah, he's such a good character for the film. Yeah, excellently performed. He has so many of the best moments in the film in a movie that is full of best moments.
So good. I've only seen him in one other thing, where in Igby Goes Down. That was an amazing film. I think he did that 10 years before Scott Pilgrim. I don't know, but
I haven't seen that.
It's brilliant. It is brilliant. Go watch it. If you're listening, go check that one out anyway. But yeah, Kieran Culkin
from Terrence.
He was incredible in this. Michael Cera is just himself. I don't know. Does he get typecast? I think he plays that role so well. But you know what?
Yeah.
No one else in the world plays that role, so let him have it. And he puts it into every single film. And
he does. He's just him. I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's literal jokes online of Michael Cera. I think he fell into acting by accident. He just walked onto a set one day as an accident and started filming, and they're like, "Oh, this kid's all right." And so he's just done that his whole career. Which just makes so much sense, because he's just this meek, perpetual child. He looks like he's been 17 forever and will be 17 forever.
God, just see him walking on set and doing his thing, just going along with it all with his weird smile. And
out of all of the actors in this film, I think he was the one that was actually the same age as what his character was. So he was 22 in this film, and his character was 22. Everyone else is such. I think he was the second youngest person in the entire film.
Who was the youngest?
I think it might have been Mae Whitman, who plays
Really?
Roxy.
Yeah.
Or someone else. Anyway, it's not Knives Chow.
Alison Pill.
Ellen Wong.
The drama.
No, Alison Pill's a bit older. But Knives Chow, played by Ellen Wong, she was 25 at the time of filming, so actually 3 years older when she was playing 5 years younger.
Wow.
Which I thought was hilarious, because when she has that fit where she's having a whinge and complain about Scott's new girlfriend, Ramona Flowers, is like, she's so old, she's probably 25.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. I feel very old. I did feel very, very old watching this film. Very old.
Watching all these kids.
Especially towards the end, I've got to say that last fight scene was just like, man, where do I look? And just fast, boom, 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 boom.
That's my attention to detail moment that I've got. There's a thing that happens in there that I'm going to talk about.
All right.
To kind of illustrate how much detail there is in this film. It's crazy.
I'll let you know if I picked it up. All right. Well, let's move on.
I doubt it. I don't think.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think anyone that I've spoken to or seen reviews and things have never mentioned this. So that's why I want to touch on it. I only just noticed it this week.
Well, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
So you've read your list of the cast.
Yep. So now I'd like to go into my famous section called Thoughts, which I've written down whilst recently watching the film. And the first thoughts that I've got is Scott Pilgrim is a terrible person.
Okay, explain.
He's just horrible. The way he legitimately just cheats on his girlfriend in this film, his high school girlfriend, and that's not on. You don't do that. There's no excuse for it, and they play it at the end where he learns his lesson and stuff, but still, no, bad. I don't care who you are or how old you are or what situation you're in. Don't cheat. It's not good. Betrays trust. Don't do it.
Self-centered, childish. Yep.
Yeah, and so from then on, I was like, you're a terrible person, and I hope you get defeated in one of your fights, which he does. So spoilers.
Does he?
Well, yeah. At level 7, when he's fighting Gideon, he gets stabbed in the back and dies, and then comes back because he gained a life when versing the Katayanagi twins.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, he does. All right, great.
Yeah.
But then he gets $7 million.
It's a video game style death, but it's still death.
Yep. All right. What? Okay, so that's a legitimate thought. Scott Pilgrim is a naughty boy. a silly.
He's a terrible
little kid.
a terrible person, and he's such a whinger as well.
Oh
like
my God.
when he's with Ramona and hasn't broken up with Knives yet, and Wallace gives the world famous ultimatum, like, you have to break up with Knives, that poor girl, and he's just laying on the couch and he's like, oh, but it's so hard. And like when Ramona's like touching his hair, like, oh, your hair's pretty shaggy, and he's like, oh God, I need a haircut, don't I? And goes and complains, and then they go for a walk because he just wants to wear a hat. Like, he's such a child.
Yep.
Yeah, he's such a whinging little boy.
He is.
Grow up,
Puts
grow
the
up,
hat,
Scott.
Puts the hat on as soon as someone says something about his hair. Did you just put your hat on because I said something about your hair?
The hat gags were fantastic. Where there was one where Knives, like right at the end, where Knives was like, "Geez, your hair's getting shaggy," and it just cuts back to him, and he's just wearing the hat. He's like, "Really?" That's so good.
He's on the phone talking to Knives, and she goes, "Are you wearing a backpack? And you wearing that dorky cap?" And he goes, "What does he say?" I wrote it. He says, "It's not
yes,
dorky."
How are you psychic?
Yeah. No, he says, "It's not dorky. Why are you psychic?" Yeah, that hat. I think I might buy one of those hats.
The visual. Oh, God, please do, and please wear it on the podcast.
Sure.
That would not look silly at all.
Sure.
You'd look dashing.
I'll just pop down the shop to Canada.
Yeah, I've got and we touched on it a little bit, but the editing in the movie is just phenomenal. Like the amount of storyboarding that must have happened to set up the shots.
Yeah, it was done already.
To be able to edit them together was done so well. Like, there's so many like half sets that were used that lead in from one to the other, or characters being in shots where they're not actually there, but they were just there to, jump into frame for a couple of frames to then come back to another location. Like, it was so meticulously done, and all of the sounds that go from one shot to the next it was nuts. It is such a level of achievement between all the cinematic departments to get it to look as beautiful as it does. I want to shout out the editing. Yeah, the editing is one of the best.
They did do a lot. They were very quick, and they used a lot of movement edits and where things passed the camera as well. There was that really good one where I can't remember the whole premise of the scene, but Scott's lying in his bed. I think just after he's seen Ramona for the first time, and Wallace walks in and falls asleep next to him, and one shot it's nighttime, next shot Scott's out of bed, and that'd be one of the ones you're talking about.
He hasn't moved. The static jump cut. Edgar loves those. There's one in Hot Fuzz as well where it's got it's Nicholas Angel. Nicholas Angel is lying in his bed in his hotel, and he's like doing a little workout with his hand. He's got one of those little hand workout things, and he's just doing that, squeezing, and the camera's just slowly going towards the bed, and then it just cuts, and it's daytime, and the bed's perfectly made, and he's out of bed, and
they're very effective.
So he loves that kind of stuff. There's a couple of things that are very Edgar Wright-esque that I noticed, where one is bringing a telephone into frame.
Yeah.
Which is a very Edgar thing to do. It was in his first film in Shaun of the Dead, where like a phone just enters the frame in a comedic way. That's in this movie as well. And another one is having a character just to exit a scene, just without a cut, just turn around and run away from the camera, which is just such a funny. And again, in Hot Fuzz, one of the Nick Frost's character at one point in the rain is carrying this gorilla teddy bear, and they're having a fight, and he yells at him, "You don't know how to switch off," and just turns around and runs away from the camera. And Michael Cera does something similar in this one right before the first battle of the bands. I'm not sure what leads up to it, but he's in an uncomfortable situation, but he just turns around and runs away.
It's when he introduces Knives to Ramona, or sees that they're next to each other, and he goes, "Oh, I gotta go," and he just runs, directly,
just turns and runs away.
Not off shot or anything, just
no, just directly away. It's so not even off screen. It's
another
so fun.
example of how childish he is. He just does anything to avoid confrontation.
Which is so weird in a movie where he's like this ultimate fighting champion.
I know, apparently. Right? Well, he's not good with his words.
It's so fun. The visual storytelling in the humor is great, and also in the dialogue. Like, this script is so well put together. Smart. I don't have the writer's name. I know Edgar Wright co-wrote the script with someone. Do you have that handy?
I do.
It's not
have
Brian.
it.
It's not Brian O'Malley? Didn't he write the?
He wrote the
comic?
original graphic
Or the
novel.
Graphic novel.
Michael Bacall.
Michael Bacall. That's it. He's got a cameo in the film as well.
Yeah.
I thought, as I did for last week, when we talked about Alien, I listened to the director's commentary. This film has a director's commentary but it also has a cast commentary.
Oh,
and so
cool.
I thought I'd mix it up a little bit. And I thought the same thing. Cool, right? I'll listen to the cast commentary. They're going to have some amazing insights into the filming of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And guess what?
They just ate chips and laughed with each other.
That's literally all they did was they just laughed and they just watched the movie and were like, oh yeah, I remember filming that, and it was not insightful in the slightest. It's a good time, don't get me wrong, and they're fun people to hang out with while like listening to their commentary, but I learned nothing to do with the making of this film listening to that commentary. None.
I've watched commentaries waiting and they're like, wow, what a tense scene. I can't wait to hear how they chose to frame this and light this.
Yep.
And they're all watching it as well in silence.
Yeah,
and then at the end go,
like,
that was awesome.
they're like, oh, I love this gag coming up with the hat. It's so funny. And I'm like, I know that. I know it's coming. I've seen the movie.
Yeah, no, remember, Bob, you were eating shrimp that day.
Yeah, oh no, not even that. Like that would be at least an interesting tidbit that I don't get to see. Like one of them's like, oh, do you have a skull at the end of your cane? And he's like, yeah, I do. I'm like, oh, okay, great. Tell me something fun. And Brandon Routh walks in like 20 minutes into the commentary and he's got burgers and he just sits down and eats burgers during the commentary. It's a good time, but as far as research purposes for this podcast, it was useless.
Wow. All right. So tell me what brought you to Michael Bacall.
Just the writing of this film. It's so good. It reminded me a little bit of Juno. If you've seen Juno.
Yep.
Just that, like, it captures like the way that kind of young people talk to each other in a kind of heightened way. Oh, and Michael Cera is in Juno. There you go. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
I love Juno, by the way. I'd love to see that on the calendar at some point. We'll talk about it. Love a good coming of age story.
Do that. We could do that. I'll allow it.
Oh, it's on the record. You heard it. It's here. Yay! Unless Terrence edits it out.
No.
Which he might.
I love Juno. I love the music in Juno.
Oh, good. It's such a sweet film. But no, like just the writing is so well done, and the characters are so funny. And whilst yes, they are brought to life exceptionally well by these incredible actors, unless there's something there on the page that they can work with, then yeah, there's no point in hiring such talented people. And yeah, the script for this is phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So funny. Right, so now...
So funny. And now we're just going to eat a burger.
I was going to... Well, I'm going through my thoughts notes, because I've only got a couple more. There's the music. We haven't talked about the music yet. This kind of could be a musical, because the sheer amount of musical numbers and original music in the movie is incredible.
Well, it's all about bands.
Yeah,
and I love that they
like,
actually play. Do you know if Sex Bob-omb actually play? Because I know Michael Cera's a great musician, but are the other guys musicians as well? Like, did they play?
They weren't. No, they did. They went to like a band camp before they filmed to learn how to play.
Yeah.
So they.
So
Mark Webber, who is the lead vocalist and guitarist, he can sing. All of the singing that he was doing was him.
Okay.
It was probably all pre-recorded and put into the film, but he was singing. All of the numbers in the film were actually recorded by a separate band and then put in, but they could play those instruments.
See, I listened to this. I actually listened to the soundtrack today,
Yep.
And I noticed a number of the songs are credited as Sex Bob-omb. As well as
cool. Maybe on the soundtrack they
Beck,
are.
You know, Beck wrote a lot of the music
Beck.
and performed a lot of the songs, and there are a couple of nice bonus tracks where Beck performs some of the Sex Bob-omb tracks. But that blew me away. It'd be really cool if we knew. Comment below if you know the answer. Let us know if they actually did. We could look it up, but I'm not going to look it up.
Yeah, who's got time for that? That's not our job.
That'd be really...
Literally, that's our job.
That'd be really, really cool. That's the bit that you want to know in the commentary. If they played
Yeah,
it.
tell us. Actually, they did talk a little bit about it, but I learned most of it. I went through the IMDb trivia because they've got some good things in there. Some of the things that you find in IMDb trivia is just not true. So you can take a bit of it with a grain of salt, but most of it is. It's not really vetted. So take it with a grain of salt. But Michael Cera had to actually dumb down his playing of the bass, whilst Alison Pill and Mark Webber had to learn how to play their instruments. I love the line at the Rocket where they have their first battle of the bands, and Alison Pill's character,
That's a drummer.
Kim, is like, they have a girl drummer, and she's so angry about it. Every band that's shown in this film has a female drummer.
Oh yeah,
Which is really
That's
cool.
cool.
It's a really cool thing to notice.
that's nice. That's nice. I love the bass battle that they have.
It's so cool, right? Who'd have thought that? Like, Edgar Wright is such a good director. He made bass guitar look cool.
Bass guitar is cool. Get out. Get out.
Oh, that's such a Terrence thing to say.
I know a few bassists and I want to keep them as friends. Bass is
Oh, okay.
very, very cool. Bass is very cool. I
don't want any people who play bass angry with me. Oh gosh, I hate to make enemies there.
Just don't ask a bassist what their
Terrified.
role is in a band. That's how a fight
Yeah.
starts. That's how the fight starts. It was really cool watching it, and how they were very different styles of music as well. The bass battle, usually bass battles or drum battles or guitar battles, they start to almost like they're jamming with each other. But this was
they
very
were
different.
There were sharp changes from
loved
one to
it.
the next.
I loved
Yeah,
it.
that
Do
was
you know
really
if
cool.
Brandon, what's his name? Brandon
Brandon Routh?
Routh, if he can play?
He did the camp, but I don't think he's a musician. No.
Yeah, okay. That doesn't matter. They did it really well. And they held the
Yeah, the
instruments
only
like they
two-
knew how to hold the instruments.
Yeah, the two musicians
I don't
on the
know.
set that I'm aware of were Michael Cera is a very prolific musician.
Yeah.
And also Johnny Simmons, who plays young Neil.
Yeah.
He's quite the musician as well. In fact, one of my favourite movies, which absolutely will find a place on the calendar, is Whiplash. Have you seen Whiplash?
Nope. Better be
So
good.
it's a movie all about music and band, and the lead character is a drummer. But it was based off a short film that the director made to kind of pitch the movie. And the guy who played the lead role in the short film was Johnny Simmons. He wasn't cast in the feature. I'm not sure why. They got I can't think of his name. People will yell at me. I can't think of his name at the moment. I do apologise. But yeah, Johnny Simmons was in the original short film playing the drums, and yeah, he's an excellent drummer.
Cool.
There's your fun fact for the day.
Cool. All right. Keep going. Keep going. I'm doing this because I know Leigh is boiling over with lots and lots of things. Details. Are we in details?
Okay, all right. We'll do my detail now because it's nuts. Again, the level of detail in this film is crazy, and so I'll give you the one that I'm going to do before I go. I've got a section that I'm going to do details about the Evil Exes.
Yeah.
But this is just a one-off detail, not to do with them, that I'm going to throw in here to let you know just how much detail there is in this movie. So,
Okay.
during the fight in the Chaos Theatre at the end, during level 7, just
Gideon.
before he gets to Gideon, he starts, Michael Cera gets the sword and starts, powering his way through a whole bunch of different henchmen.
The first sword?
Yeah, or
The
both.
heart?
But I think this is during the first sword. The
What
first
is it?
sword,
Love.
Power of Love.
Yeah.
The power of love. And he... Oh gosh, don't sing, Leigh. You're being recorded. That was a mistake. Edit that out, Terrence.
Huey Lewis in the news.
I've been so good not to sing in any episode. I won't sing again. I promise everyone. I'm sorry. And
Right.
as he's cutting down
film.
the henchmen, he cuts down one, and there's a point score associated with it because it's like
Yes.
a video game.
Yeah.
And so the first one is 200, and then the second one is 400, and it's got great. And then the third one goes 600, and it's amazing. And then so on and so forth, and it goes awesome. And he's getting combos.
Yeah.
And then another henchman comes up, and he's got to block him, and so he blocks the henchman with his kind of arms up, pushes him away, and then cuts down the next one, and it goes back to 200. The combo's been lost, and then continues on from there. And it's just Like, why would you think of doing that?
That's cool.
It's insanity, the level of detail that you have to do something like that. And so it was, I don't know whether it was planned or something that they wanted to put in after the fact, but just that eye for detail is just insane. And those moments can be found everywhere in this movie. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is good. This is it's not just Easter eggs, because there are so many hidden things. But if they were all called Easter eggs, then we could put this on Easter.
If Easter was on a constant day every year, then this one would probably go on
There'd be enough to go around.
Yeah.
This was full of everything, and I couldn't relax watching this. Now, sometimes you can go get a glass of water while this is on in the background, but you can't. You don't want to do that with any film, but you really feel like you're going to miss something if you just turn for 1 second.
You do. Literally, if you blink, you miss something. Which, did you notice that the actors don't really blink in this movie at all?
No.
They were given direction by Edgar Wright to make it more like a comic. The characters just shouldn't blink.
Wow.
No one should blink. They do. There are moments where all of them do blink, except for Alison Pill, who plays Kim.
Yeah.
The only times that she closes her eyes in the movie is when she's counting down for the drums. Where she's like, "We are Sex Bomb! 1, 2, 3, 4!" Dun, 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 dun. So, and she has her eyes closed when she does that. It's the only time she closes her eyes.
Because she's screaming.
Blinks. Yeah.
And she probably got big crosses on her eyes to show she's got her eyes pressed hard.
Yeah, she only legitimately blinks once, and it's in the end in the Chaos Theatre, and it's a very quick moment. But
so
otherwise
you've watched, haven't you?
She is open eyes.
You've watched this film consciously looking for a blink.
Well, when I found out about that, because I read about it and maybe heard in an interview with Edgar Wright years and years ago, and so watching it after that, you can kind of look out for it. But everyone else blinks except for her. She does really well not to.
How amazing is that? That's direction, and that's commitment to your craft. You really want to ingrain it in the actors. That's a great way to get them in the role.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's really cool. I'm going to use that.
It would have been so hard, but I'm not counting that as a level of detail, even though it kind of is.
I'm going to try it now. I'm just going to keep going as normal, but I'm going to try and not blink. Just for the next bit.
No, God, please
You'll
don't.
know when I start.
For
It's
people
all right.
listening to the audio version of this, it doesn't matter, Terrence. They won't get to see you not blinking.
It's fine. There are about 13 people that watch every episode that we do, so here we go.
But that level of attention to detail, I tell you what, I often think with a lot of filmmakers, like I'd love to just kind of be inside their head for a day to see how they think. I do not want to be in Edgar Wright's head. It would be manic. I could not imagine the stuff that goes inside that man's mind.
If it's anything like his films, it'd just be jump cut, crash zoom, wipe cut.
But not in a bad way.
Transition.
Not in a bad way. Like it's all purposeful and deliberate filmmaking, and needed, especially for this one with the such a heightened world.
Very interesting.
Incredible.
Very interesting about the blinks, because a lot of editors, here's a sneaky little tidbit. I've already blinked quite a few times since I challenged myself to not blink. A lot of editors will use a technique of editing on a blink. When a character blinks,
Right.
that's usually because their train of thought will slightly change. Their thought process has a breath, or they're about to turn their head. When you turn your head, you'll naturally blink. So it's a great transition point, because it follows naturally with the way we see other humans. So to actually direct people to not blink is just unbelievable. But anyway, I don't know why we're still talking about blinking. Did I go back?
No, that's genuinely. I didn't know that. Yeah. That's really insightful. Thank you.
Yes. Well, there you go. I'm not just. Everyone can finish a pretty face. Everyone else thought that anyway.
I want to call attention to some of the sound effects. You mentioned the sound design before and how good it is. A lot of the sounds that are in there, I'm not sure if you know this or not, but come from Nintendo games, because Edgar Wright is a huge Nintendo fan. A lot of them from the Legend of Zelda franchise, which if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm pretty sure it's in the shot. just up here, I've got a whole bunch of Zelda paraphernalia, including soundtracks and just little trinkets and things like that. No, it's not worth me turning around and grabbing anything off the shelf because it probably might fall over, and that would be horrible for me.
I've never played Zelda.
It's such a fun franchise, and the world building in it is crazy. There's different timelines, and it's horrible. If you want to learn the timeline of Zelda, it's going to take you hours and hours and hours. It's a long endeavor. But yeah,
let's talk about Scott
There's
Pilgrim.
so many cool sound effects from Nintendo that he was able to license because he wrote a letter to Nintendo before he made the film and asking permission to use them. And the reason he got it is because he stated that a lot of the Zelda music were the lullabies of his childhood.
Oh,
And that was such a, oh my god, my dog, hang on. This is going to be a really weird sound for people to hear right now in audio format. My dog just grabbed a giant drink of water, and it was very loud on here, and it sounded very suspect. It was my dog lapping water out of his bowl, I promise you.
there's no evidence of that, Leigh.
He's coming over to say hi now as well. You can go back to your bed, it's okay.
I don't believe you.
Okay.
I'm going to listen out for that, and I'll heighten the sound on that.
Oh, please don't. It sounded so gross.
I'm
Please
add red to your cheeks.
Mute my... It's coming already naturally. Don't... Oh my god. You can mute my microphone, please. That'd be marvelous.
Zelda. Oh yeah, the lullabies of his childhood. That's really sweet. That's a good way to get him in the feels. Okay.
Right. You can tell that he's a writer.
Yeah. Wow, that's really cool. What about how the whole film opens with the Universal logo done in like 8-bit, 16-bit,
Yeah.
I don't know, and with the music.
Yeah, I can't. With the amount that we spoke about the opening title scene for Alien in last week's episode, the fact that we haven't mentioned the Universal logo, that was awesome. So clever. Like, talk about entering you into this world, right from the offset. So much fun having that 8-bit sound of the Universal. They actually get
very impressive.
The movie gets the Universal logo sound in the movie when Chris Evans enters in, and he has his moment with the Universal when he cracks his neck to the dun dun of the Universal theme. Yeah. You know when he comes out of his trailer, does that dun 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 dun. Oh, I don't even remember the theme. But yeah, he cracks his neck on the Universal.
That's very cool.
Sound. Yeah,
and there's the detail, right?
Yes, exactly. It's that level. Again, that didn't count. That didn't count as a detail. I swear. I promise.
It's a detail. That's it.
And the last thing I had written down for the thoughts was just the way that the visual effects are used. Whilst there's big visual effects like, you know, explosions and fire and whatever. But it's the little ones. It's the, like you said, the writing that pops up on the screen for, you know, when a character disappears or gets punched or blocks, or, you know, and it's all those little ones where the camera moves and like lines show up on the screen to you know, show how quickly the camera's panning across from one area to another, and all the crash zooms with heightened lines and things. All of those visual effects are just so good to make it comic book. Yeah, action lines
flying through the air. Yeah. And
it's also
the accents, the emotive accents. Yeah, I think that's brilliant. And right at the beginning, I think the first ones we see are when the band plays, and you see those bolts of lightning come out of the band. I think that said it for me. That said it. The Universal logo in its 3D spin.
Yep.
With the music. And then watching the band play, and what a great song too! Such a cool song. It made me want to listen to that type of music again. So I was playing the soundtrack, as I mentioned before. I think I might chuck some of that on again as well. I haven't heard Beck in like over a decade. That's so
it's good stuff.
Yeah, but
I think my favorite song in the film is the one from the Clash at Demon Head.
Yeah, that was. Oh, I love the scene there.
The Brie Larson one. Yeah, it's such a good song. It's one of my favorites. I've got it on a running playlist.
Yeah.
When I used to do exercise. haven't listened to that film for quite a while. Listened to that song for quite a while, being on a workout playlist.
Hang on, I'm getting that mixed up. I like the concert scene when Sex Bomb go up against the Karayanagi twins.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great one.
That was a brilliant scene, and
Threshold is that
great
that
animation.
called.
But I love that track as well, and how they played that out. The wall of amps, amp versus amp, and this is
cool.
this is the I don't know if is it Kim Pine? Is it Kim that screams out the start of the track, or is it the lead singer that starts it?
Oh, at that,
I think he says it real soft. And he goes, "We're Sex Bomb, and we're here to make you think about death and get sad and stuff."
Yeah. Michael Cera's. Yeah, Scott Pilgrim does it in that one.
Does Scott do it, or does the lead singer do it? Stephen Stills does it.
No, Scott does it. No,
Right.
Scott absolutely does it, because he's fired up. He's like, you know, bands, I know battles. Like, we've got this. Not only do I want to. He says something, but he grabs the mic and is like, "We are Sex Bomb, and we're here to make you feel sad and think about death and stuff."
stuff comes
other way
in
around, yeah.
And stuff
Yeah,
happens a few times throughout. Is that one of your little detail observations?
and stuff.
Yeah. He finishes
A few characters have their quirky moments. Like
Yeah.
Ramona Flowers has her a little thing that she says a couple of times, which is, "I know of it," or "I know of him," where he tells the Pac-Man story to her, and completely butchers it. She's like, "Hey, do you know Pac-Man?" She's like, "I know of him."
Yeah.
And then when she turns up at his house later and she's got different coloured hair, and he's like, "Hey, you know your hair?" She's like, "I know of it." So she's got a little quirk like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's a big tell in his in the flaw in his character, hey, where he can't deal with change. But it's also the hair thing. He's very sensitive about his hair because of the whole scenario with his relationship going. There's so much underlying as well. You know, there's so much that went with the filmmaking. It looks great, and there's so many details, and the music's awesome. But there's an actual movie happening here. There's an actual story playing out. There's a love story.
There's a proper
going
plot.
on, you know?
Yeah.
But I was really trying to find what it is. What's the learn? What's the he becomes a better person at the end of it. I think this is also a sign of the times where it was a very tropey movie. You know, boy chases girl, and girl is a bit aloof, and it's not, but it was just really weird how quickly Ramona took a shine to Scott. Why does she? I don't know.
She was pretty standoffish from the beginning. Like when she delivered the package. No, yeah, I think she was. She delivered the package
the first time.
And he's like, "Hey, I was thinking about asking you out, but that would be stupid."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah."
And then at night they're in
package.
bed together. That same night.
That's her prerogative. Why not?
Of course it's her prerogative.
She chose that.
But that's what I mean. It was. It
she
wasn't just
invited
that.
him
It
to
was
her house.
How she was playing it so cold, yet there was this attraction that she felt to him, and maybe that's it's explained later on where he's the first nice guy. Okay.
I mean, yeah. Look, you are right. Like, no offense to Michael Cera, but Mary Elizabeth Winstead being attracted to Michael Cera is kind of a little bit like, okay.
It gives everyone hope. It's the classic rags to riches story.
Yeah, no, there's quite a toxic thing in cinema, especially sort of if you go back of kind of that not so good looking guys being able to get women like way outside of their league, and it kind of doesn't set up men emotionally well when they're going through development watching these movies to equip them for the real life storytelling. But that's a story for another day, and let's not get too political here. Oh, my dog is going for a drink of his water.
Oh, really? Sure.
I think I was able to speak over it so that it didn't get hurt. Oh, it sounds so right. Gross in my headphones.
It's it's not about getting political with the film. It's just talking about the film and seeing where they chose to go with it, and how, I don't know if times have changed now, but I think with some of the films we've spoken about, they didn't need to go down that line. With Alien, for example, there was nothing to do with any relationship or anything like that. Didn't have to. They did put a bit of, not nudity, but, scantily cladness in there, but which I think actually was very unnecessary. But, not every film has to have it. This is a big coming-of-age film as well, and it's a teen-directed films, directed at teens film, so I guess there was an expectation to do that kind of thing too. But look, colourful, sugar high, sugar rush.
Yeah, very, very much so. Just courteous of time.
Yeah.
I'd love to just get into the Evil Exes real quick.
Do it. Yes.
And talk about some of the we'll call this section there was time codes in the description below, so this bit will be film discussion brackets. Oh God, my dog is being so loud. Film discussion brackets. Details with Evil Exes or something like that. I'll think of something.
So now that you're here listening to what it's called, you can click on it.
Exactly.
And it'll go
they'll
back
all
5
have,
seconds.
and it'll go back a little bit. So yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Evil Exes, including Gideon himself, who started the League of Evil Exes. And so the first one is Matthew Patel. And yeah, I just want to talk about the numbers of them and when they come, and there's some significant details with the numbers. So Matthew Patel comes in, he's X number 1, and he gets announced when Wallace leans over the thing and goes, "Look out! It's that one guy." In one of his
one guy,
he's that one guy.
Okay.
And also when Matthew Patel is summoning the demons and the fireballs, he's sticking one finger in the air, and all of the flames come out of the one finger.
Okay, with his demon Bollywood dancers,
demon hipster chicks. Yeah. Yeah, when he busts out into a Bollywood style musical, and everyone's like, "What is going on?
What's going on?" I'm
so
glad that happened. What is going on?
Yeah, it's a great addition because you are going, what is happening? So number 2 is Lucas Leigh, played by the incredible Chris Evans, Captain America himself. He points at Scott Pilgrim with 2 fingers. Every time he points, he's pointing with 2 fingers.
Done on
his
purpose?
car. Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
It is on purpose. On his car door has got the number 2 on it, and he's also got a number 2 tattooed onto his neck.
Ooh, and he has 2 eyes.
And he has 2 eyes, yes.
Good observation. I observationed that.
Yeah, well done. Number 3 is probably the most obvious one. This is Todd. This is the bass guitar battle. And he's just got a t-shirt that says number 3, which I'm not sure if it's during this moment or not, but at some point in the film, and I love this one as well, Scott Pilgrim wears a shirt that's just got 0 written on it.
Does he?
Because he's the latest X.
Yeah.
Or X waiting to happen almost. So he's got 0 on his shirt. He's the newest partner. Number 4 is Roxy.
Shouldn't have 8.
No, who cares? Number 4, he's not an evil X yet, so he's a 0 waiting to become an 8.
Right.
Roxy, the X, is at the after party.
Yes.
Where they go after the base battle with Todd. The place where they are the building is just called 4.
Yeah.
Is what the building is called. It's got
on
the
the
giant
big
number
window
4
above the entrance.
It's the style of 4 where it's not like the parallel lines. It's the 4 that's got like the triangle.
The one where you can make a 5-pointed
Yeah.
star out of it.
Exactly, and it's that 4 is actually it's the same style as the Fantastic Four.
I was
going to
say that. I was going to ask,
which is
that.
really
yeah,
it's really cool.
It's like one of the
number
t-shirts
5,
too. One of the t-shirts have.
He's got the 4. Yeah,
the 4.
It's the Fantastic Four, but it's 4.5.
Yeah, or 4 1/3 or
Yeah.
something. So it might not be, but anyway.
4. Yeah, that's a really funny one. 5 and 6 are the Katayanagi twins, and they. When they get defeated, because every time they get defeated, there's a certain points allocated to them. So when number 1 gets defeated, it's 1,000, and then 2,000, 3,000, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
When these twins get defeated, because they're number 5 and 6, it starts at 5,000 and goes all the way up to 6,000.
I did notice that one, yes.
And also I'm not sure if you noticed this one or not because it was in Japanese lettering, but on their this is my music knowledge, lack thereof, showing on their music boards. They've got dials where they turn the volume up.
Music
boards. Shut up. On their mixers, I don't know, whatever. Their DJ.
I think you call
things.
them decks.
Deck.
Maybe I just sounded super old saying that.
Isn't a deck what you have a barbecue on in summer out on your house? or if you're in New Zealand, it means something else entirely.
So what's on their decks?
On their deck is the dial that they turn up all the way when they're in the battle, and it goes all the way to 11. Which again is a reference to This Is Spinal Tap
to Queen,
and also 5 plus 6 is 11, if my math is correct.
Oh, Queen also turned it up to 11 when they played Live Aid at Wembley Stadium. Just saying.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Or 10,
That's a fun
but they
fact
weren't allowed
for
to.
the music
anyway.
fans. So Gideon is number 7, Evil Ex number 7, who started the league. He obviously, it starts that whole scene off with he's reached level 7. They get 7 billion. He gets 7 billion points when he defeats him, and when he powers himself up, he powers himself up 7 times.
Powers himself up 7 times.
Yeah, before Gideon reveals the pixelated sword, the blue sword, he kind of does a whole bunch of hand gestures. It's like times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the sword comes out. So he powers himself up to times 7.
I thought he was doing different gestures every single time, and I likened that to a secret code on a Nintendo. Like
that's a good point.
Game code.
It could be, yeah.
But 7 of them, I could.
He's hitting up, up, down, down, 2B.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a
I love doing those cheats. Yep.
But yeah, those the one thing we learned from this movie is cheating is bad, Terrence. Remember, don't cheat.
I said I love doing those cheats, as in the computer game cheats.
Good. Your wife will be very, very happy to hear. All right, so that's pretty much what I've got for this film. So I'd be happy to go on to What About When's, because there's going to be some moments in here that we can talk about. Yeah. If we kind of go on to every character and things, we'll be here for another hour and a half. So for courtesy of time, I think we should go on to What About When's.
All right.
This is a really cool section. You see it here in the time code below, where we ask for your contributions. So on Twitter or Instagram, we are at the Movie Cal. We have the email as well, themoviecal@gmail.com, and our website, themoviecalendar.com, is where you can reach out to us. Use the hashtag whataboutwhen, and we'll be able to see these and add them to future episodes. If you'd like to contribute to the movie that we're going to be talking about next week, we're going to announce it at the end of this one. So I've got one that I got from a friend of mine who just sent me a personal message, and we've got one on Twitter as well. And I'll read those out. There is actually, normally we try to limit it to 1 or 2 per person, but I only received 1 on Twitter this week, and there is 6 What About When's.
That makes
this one.
7.
That makes 7. So we've got 7
evil What About When's.
I think Terrence has got a What About When, which would make it 8. But I'll go through these ones. But no, as far as contributions that we've got from the listeners and viewers. We've got 7. So I got one from Matt, and his What About When. This was actually one that I wrote down before I got this message.
Sure you
and
did.
It's when the vegan police turn up and take away Todd's vegan powers.
I'm glad you're speaking about
funny.
That was so cool. I recognise those 2 actors as well from things that they acted in and that I'd seen and recognised them from.
Thomas Jane is one who played the Punisher. Oh, Punisher! There's another actor that plays a superhero in this film. We've got the Punisher in this movie. How did I not write that one down? Oh my
Leigh,
God.
You let me down.
I've got to stop. I've just got to stop talking about movies now. That's just embarrassing.
You are no longer my go-to for superhero stuffs.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I'll be able to interview some people for you to take over my position.
I'll let that go because is he the Punisher in the film?
Yeah, he's in the film. Yeah, he's
not
Punisher
in
the film.
Not in the series that they've created.
If you haven't seen Thomas Jane's the Punisher, it's actually really good. There's a short film on YouTube with him as well, called Dirty Laundry. If you're here on YouTube and when you finish this episode, search Dirty Laundry. It's a short film about the Punisher, starring Thomas Jane, and it is phenomenal. It is such a good. It's such a good short film that I don't know who it was that made it, but it's really, really well done. So no vegan diet, no vegan powers. He's in the message. He's talked about how he's like, don't I get 3 strikes?
Yeah.
And he goes through all of the dates, being like, you ate gelato. Like, gelato isn't vegan. It's milk and eggs, bitch.
That was funny. I like that
Yeah.
bit of a the poison in not the poison.
Poison.
The reason I say that is because he's got the half and half. What is half and half? Is that it's a dairy product?
Half and half. I
obviously?
don't know. I think it's like light milk. I don't know what half and half is. If you're watching this or listening to this in the States, and you know what half and half is, we're obviously Australian, so we don't know. We don't have half and half.
We have
here.
this thing called milk and low fat milk. I think there's another. There's skim milk.
There's
as
a great
well.
Australian. There's a great Australian ad. I don't remember what the milk was for, so maybe it wasn't that great. But where they go to the store and the woman lists off a whole bunch of different types of milk that they sell, and the guy's like, "I just want milk that tastes like milk." It's a great.
I've had
it's a
half and
fantastic
half.
Australian commercial.
I've had half and half. It was in a little capsule thing. I don't even know what it was. It was liquid, white liquid.
Yeah, weird. I have no idea.
The android
Yeah, that's
blood.
that is a fantastic. What about when?
The reason I said poison, it's reminded me of the scene in The Princess Bride, where I can't remember the character's name, but he has the
yes.
two poisons, and he's
Yeah.
not sure, and they do it, and switch, because he even says, "Oh, I considered putting the half and half in this one, but then I thought I'll just
Yeah, in my mind's eye, or
Mind's
whatever.
eye. Yeah, oh, love it.
Yes, that was a good one. So
cool.
thank you.
Vegan powers, I love it. I love that.
Thank you, Matt, for that one. Truly great hashtag What About When moment. So this one is from Darcy, and this was on Twitter. And so there are 6 here. What I'll do is I'll just read out the entire tweet, and it'll pop up on the screen here, and then we'll go through them one by one relatively quickly.
Okay,
so
cool.
Darcy has said, "At the movie Cal, I've seen hashtag Scott Pilgrim so many times. A few What About When's incoming. 1. The Seinfeld guitar plus laugh track appears in one of the scenes with Scott and Wallace. Number 2, when Knives arrives to see Scott and he jumps out the window behind Wallace.
He just
Number
left.
3, Number 3, I got a pee on her. No, which if you
messes it up.
if you haven't seen this film, that's going to sound really creepy, but it's very funny. Number 4, blacking out Jules's mouth when she swears.
Yep, how do you
Number
do that?
5, showing who owns what in Wallace's apartment when they enter for the first time.
Wallace.
And number
Wallace.
6, basically any time that text or special effects are used on the screen.
Yeah.
Which we've already spoken about that one. So thank you, Darcy, for this. All of these
cool.
are fantastic.
That
So
was
number
cool.
1, the Seinfeld music and gag is
man.
fantastic. I have no idea how they were able to license this. It would have been so expensive to get, but it's really cleverly done.
It sounded like the legit one. And you know
It
how
was.
I know?
It absolutely was.
Because I can't do it.
Yeah. We'll,
Must be real.
We'll put it in here and pay Seinfeld $1 million.
Yeah.
And put it in the episode.
And every time he opens the door was the Kramer style slide, you know.
It's really good because that laugh track, I'm not sure if you noticed or not, but when Wallace, he's standing at the stove and he's cooking something, just before he delivers the ultimatum that we were talking about before, he flicks off the stove to turn around, and it flicks off the laugh track.
Really?
Yeah, it's a nice little visual
Okay.
cue that it's finished. He touches something and flicks it, and the laugh track disappears, and he goes over to Scott and is like, "You have to break up with poor Knives."
Oh, that's cool. See,
was
I thought the laugh track finished when Scott walked through the room and went into the bathroom. But he comes out of the
'cause he
bathroom and
comes
gets
back out,
another
yeah.
Kramer entrance applause.
No, he doesn't go. He goes into his room. He doesn't go into
his
the
room.
bathroom because the guy that Wallace ended up hooking up with at the Rocket was in the bathroom because he's like double standard.
That's his sister's boyfriend.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right. Brie Larson. No, not Brie
Tell
Larson.
your-
Anna Kendrick.
Oh,
Anna Kendrick.
Anna Kendrick. Yeah. Tell your gay friends that I said goodbye. My gay friends, what? Take it up with Liberace's ghost.
That was
So hang on,
that was beautiful.
We've got to get through these. Number 2, when Knives arrives to see Scott and he jumps out of the window behind
Yeah.
Wallace. One of my favorite visual gags
Yeah.
out of any film, because the door opens and you see him there and he runs off screen, and then a stunt double just shoots out of the window and he comes back for his jacket, reaches in and grabs his jacket. It's such a good scene.
And Kieran, Wallace's character, he kind of leans just out of the way enough to really obviously
Sorry,
show.
you know what? He just left.
Yeah. Sorry, no.
And then it shows Knives, and you see him walk behind
And he
across the road
she
as
looks
well.
She gets the inkling that he's there. Yeah, that was good.
It's so that's great. So the number 3, I gotta pee on her.
Oh, yeah.
When that's when Ramona asks, because Ramona finds out,
Who's that?
Scott used to date her.
Yeah.
And he's like, she goes, how old is she? And then the wheel goes inside his head. I've got written down here all of the different things that were on the wheel.
Yeah.
There's 12 things that are on the wheel before it stops.
It goes in between the two, right?
Who, her, and I got to pee, and he says I got to pee on her. So they are. So his responses that he can say when it's spinning through his mind are: she's nobody, she's 40, idiot, no speaker English, when is dinner? Just the word tell Pac-Man story. No, you are. Pass out. It was nothing. Or who, her, or I gotta pee are the options that are flicking through his mind.
Pee on her.
And it stops halfway between who, her, and I've got to pee, and he says I gotta pee on her.
I love it. She's 40.
She's 40.
Out of all those, I don't know why. No. Oh man, well there you go, non-confrontational, right?
Yes.
He's a little boy, he's a baby, he's never had a job before. He doesn't know how to talk to adults.
So yeah, that's great. I hope Darcy, you learned something there, because I certainly did when I found that out. Those are so funny. So number 4,
story.
blacking out Julie's mouth when she swears.
Yeah.
Very funny to keep it the rating down, because you're only allowed one swear word in the US before it goes from an R to an NC-17.
Do you know what the swear word? What? Don't say it. But do you know when it happened?
No, I can. It's when.
Is it a naughty one?
It's not really that bad. It's when we can put an explicit one on this one. It's fine. So block your ears. Go ahead. 15 seconds.
Great.
It's when he calls Todd. He slams his hands down on the table and he calls Todd. He says, "You cocky cock."
Oh, that's all right.
You can blank it out if you want. We haven't released this yet. You can edit. You can literally black out my mouth and do it.
No,
but
that makes it sound worse.
That wasn't supposed to be the swear. There was supposed to be one F word that was said in the film, but they had to black it out because they had the words cocky cock in the film. They couldn't have an F word as well. And it was supposed to be the one that Brie Larson said, who was Envy or Natalie.
Yeah.
When she, right before, like, Todd gets killed, and then Aubrey Plaza's character, Julie, comes up and goes, "Oh, just for the record, I'm so mad at you." And you know, you might want to blank my voice here because I am going to say it. And Brie Larson's character just goes, "Shut the up, Julie." Ooh, okay. That was supposed to be the only F word in the film, but because they already had the previous line, they had to block it out.
I think it's good that it wasn't in it.
No, I think it's a shame. I think that would have been a really funny one. Because every single other one for Julie has been blanked out, and then when someone else says it to her, it's not. I think that would have been good.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe. I like that Julie got her... Like, she was not the strong character she always makes out to be. She got put in her place by those guys.
Yeah.
That was good.
I love Aubrey Plaza's character, Julie. She's so good. Just the way that she just keeps showing up with a whole bunch of different jobs. They're called jobs, something that you wouldn't know anything about, with a lot of swearing in there as well.
I just love how Aubrey Plaza plays that character in so many things that she does. Yeah.
She's great. Her character in this reminded me of, and this came well after this was a film that only came out recently, the film Booksmart.
Yeah.
Which is, if you love a good comedy and coming of age story, it's so good. Olivia Wilde's directorial debut. It's astonishingly funny. And one of the characters in there, played by Billie Lourd, who is Carrie Fisher's daughter.
Yeah.
She just keeps randomly popping up in the film in random places, and it makes for really good humor. I'd love to add that film to the calendar as well if we can. It's an absolute classic comedy.
All right.
Number 5 from Darcy, showing who owns what in Wallace's apartment when we enter for the first time, and it comes up with the doot 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 burp, doot 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 burp, with all of the things and all of the things that it's obviously been written by Wallace. These things, because all of Scott's stuff is lame or stupid or yeah. That's a real fun moment.
Little Fight Club-esque there, going through the apartment with the labels.
Very Fight Club-esque. I didn't think of that. Very true.
Yeah. All right. What are we up to? Number 6?
And then number 6, and we've spoken about this already, and it's basically any time that text is used on the screen for a special effect.
Yeah.
Really cool. I was really sad during the fight with Roxy because she her powers are like she teleports.
In that black smoke.
Poof. They use a whole bunch of different ones for her teleporting, but I really wish they had have used one, BAMF, BAMF.
Yeah.
And because that's the sound that Nightcrawler makes from the X-Men. Nightcrawler is a teleporting character from the X-Men, and in the comics, he's known for making that sound when he disappears. And there was probably a licensing issue that they couldn't use those characters together, but it was such a shame because I loved because BAMF is just such a it gets it across really well for someone disappearing and reappearing again. But yeah, it's a shame that wasn't the case for this one. I'm sure that they just weren't allowed to do it.
Yeah, maybe.
Otherwise Edgar would have put it in, I'm sure.
Well, I think that goes along the same lines of why they chose all those obscure, words that the kind of onomatopoeic, I guess, kind of, but crow, Krow, was used for a punch.
Yeah.
I think it was because there is some sort of licensing, but not just for that one, for all of them.
There might be.
Using it in that style to accentuate the motion. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I know that there's certain ones that are very specific to characters, like Wolverine has one when his claws come out, which is snicked.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man has one when he whips his webs out.
Is it?
Which is no,
Should
it's
be.
not. It's thwip, which is THWIP, I think.
I need to rewrite Spider-Man and write.
Yeah. And just write. Yeah, that'd be great.
Can I?
All right, now
I share a couple of my little
cool?
Because I had some amazing quotes in this thing, and I had to do a couple.
I'm not gonna.
I'll go
I'm
real
not gonna
quick
put
with
in
them.
any more what about whens. So
All right.
if you've got a couple, we'll do 2 quick what about whens. Then we'll add the film to the calendar, and then we'll tell you what we're doing next week.
What about whens? I got to do some top quotes. Here we go. Knives talks to young Neil. What do you play? Zelda, Tetris.
Oh,
cool.
That's a loaded question.
The scene where we were talking about before with that jump cut where they're lying on the bed next to each other, Scott and Wallace, and all of a sudden Scott's up and he calls out from the computer, "Hey Wallace, Amazon.ca. What's the website for that?" Boom, love that. And when he's
Amazon.ca,
because he wants to
got mail.
order something from Amazon so that Ramona can come and deliver it, and then he waits by the door like a puppy dog.
Yeah,
waiting
so
for that.
good.
Right at the end, Gideon talks about Sex Bomb, but every time he mentions the band's name, he gets it wrong on purpose.
Yeah.
And he goes, Sex something Bab. And
It's like, I love the sex bulbs.
And he gets corrected by Scott and he goes, Ba-bomb. And almost like it's an incorrect sound and it's the name of the band. I like the way it plays like that.
It's very clever.
And Wallace says, well, maybe you can just move in with Ramona. And he goes, but Ramona's with Gideon. He goes, it's probably just because he's better than you. I like that. I like that line. And then one last one. And this one was in the second time when Scott gets his one up, he gets his second chance to beat Gideon. And he walks into, is it the Chaos Theatre? He walks in and there's this little cameo by the character who first talks about Ramona when he says, have you seen a girl with this kind of hair like this?
Oh, that's so fun.
That guy that he speaks to, who does
Como.
a few spots in like The Office and he's done a couple of other things as well. He's in that room talking. And the first time he walks in, he's talking about something or other. I can't remember, but the line changes when he walks in the second time. And the second time, he's overheard saying, the comic is better than the movie.
Yeah.
The comic book is better than the movie.
The first time Scott walks through, he's heard saying, their first album is much better than their first album.
Yes! First album much better than the first album.
And then the second time is like, the comic book is far better than the movie.
I love that. That is a beautiful look at themselves, it's really cool. What about when?
Very much so.
I only have one.
Okay.
What about
let's do it quickly.
When we see the very first fight scene with Scott and he gets attacked by Matthew Patel and how Scott defends himself just out of the blue. You're not ready for him to be this awesome fighter. But when that
Yes, you have
happened-
no idea that fighting is going to be a thing, even though it's called Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Yeah, like he just like flies through the window. It's like, it's time for our fight has begun. What do I do? What did I do? And then fight!
That was
And then just
amazing.
block, reversal, and then the 64 hit combo in reference to the Nintendo 64. Yeah, so good.
Nintendo 64 t-shirt is worn as well. Bands throughout are worn on t-shirts. He wears a band called Plum Tree.
Yeah, quickly
and
for
that's
the
one
shirt.
of the bands too. that plays.
The one that he wears, Scott Pilgrim wears with the love heart, and it's got SP on it.
Yeah.
You think it's for Scott Pilgrim? That's a Smashing Pumpkins t-shirt.
He wears it. That's his first shirt, and it's his very last shirt that he wears as well. Yeah.
So that's
I
cool.
knew that one.
I didn't. I had to look that one up again. I'm not a music person, as I have blatantly shown myself not to be with the music deck thing.
What do you call a music board?
Bored? I don't know.
I love it.
Right.
Dex might not
Moving
be right.
along. It's time. The reason we're all here, the moment we've been waiting for. It is time for the movie calendar.
Right.
So here is where we place the movie on the calendar so that you've got a day of the year that you can watch this movie every single year.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is to fill all 365 days with amazing pieces of cinema, and at the end of it you have a calendar that you can just pick up, and at any given day you know what you're going to watch. Take all of the guesswork out of it. This calendar will exist in some fashion, digital and or physical at some point. Really looking forward to putting it on the website and have to purchase when it's all done in 17,000 years, when it's all finally finished.
Yep.
We're getting there. We're getting through it.
Yep.
So we love contributions to this as well. We had a really good date picked last week from someone on Twitter. It was Kelvin. And this week Darcy has given us, at the end of her tweet tirade of 6 whataboutwhens, she's given us a date for this film as well. And so she has chosen July 7th. And the reason being purely because that is the 7th of the 7th in the year.
Cool.
And there are 7 deadly exes in this movie. And I thought that was quite appropriate. So Scott Pilgrim versus the World will be on the 7th of July every year on the movie calendar.
Awesome. That's cool. You know, I usually ask questions in the 11th hour. I'm going to ask a question, but you don't have to answer it now. You can leave a comment if you know the answer to this one. I want to know why Ramona fights Roxy. That's it. Leave it in the comments. Tell me below. I have no idea, and we didn't get time to talk about it now. It's the only Evil Ex that she actually stands up to and fights back. I don't know why. There we go.
Yeah, it's a good question. I have an answer, but I'm not going to answer it.
Nah.
I'll tell you off screen.
Yep. But you
All
can
right,
leave it
so-
in the comments. Yeah, please comment, contribute. Very cool.
But before we mention what film we're going to be talking about next week, just a big thank you to everyone who has watched or listened to us. We really appreciate it. It's really keeping us going. Thank you for all of your tweets and messages and likes on Instagram and Twitter. And the emails that we get have been really lovely.
And all your feedback
We're going to be
too.
responding to a couple of emails very soon. I've been getting some really lovely feedback through there. If you want to give us some feedback, please do. It's still a very young podcast, so we would love to hear your feedback. So feel free to Twitter, Instagram, or email would be the best. All of the links to those are in the description of the episode below. Doesn't matter if you're watching on YouTube or listening to us on your podcast app; it's all still in there. If you are on YouTube, feel free to give us a like. It does help us to get discovered. Costs you nothing. And if you're listening to us on a podcast app, if you could give us a nice review, that would be super helpful as well.
Cool. And rate us.
Give us a nice rating. That'd be lovely. So next
week.
Think about a date for this one. I have no idea when it's going to be. I don't have one sorted out myself. Get in your hashtag whataboutwhens, because we're going to be talking all about Martin Scorsese's The Departed.
Go watch it.
First Scorsese film coming in. Check your streaming services, rent or buy it. It is an absolute cracker of a film. Crime, detective story. It is an excellent addition to the movie calendar, and cannot wait to talk about The Departed next week.
Change of pace for us.
Yeah, haven't done a film like this yet.
Got to put
It's
my
mostly been-
serious pants on for doing some adulting.
Yeah,
Yes.
but more of a Oh no, I'm not going to say. I was going to say it's more of an adult film, but
Eh.
yeah,
A grown-ups film.
A grown-up
for
film,
grown-up
yeah.
people who want to
yeah.
really be challenged with thought.
Yeah, I love this movie. It finally snagged Martin Scorsese his first Best Director Oscar.
Crazy.
But yeah, we're going to be talking about all of that next week. So join us for that. Thank you so much, Terrence, once again.
Thank you, Leigh.
For doing this with me. It's always a lot of fun. Looking forward to talking about The Departed next week.
Yeah.
And so we'll see you all there. Thanks,
right.
everyone.
See you later.
All right, bye.